Warm greetings from the high 10. It's Everyday Shenanigans. Thanks for joining me. Uh, Thank you for your support. I really appreciate it. God bless all of you. Hello, BB fan, Flora May, Christina Blevin Holmes. Thank you so much. I'm going to go ahead and get started because I don't know how long this live is going to last. I will be playing two parts of an audio pertaining to WJHL. This is the lead investigator in the Summer Wells case. He has finally broken his silence to bring said information pertaining to the case. I want to thank my mod for bringing me the information. I didn't get a notification pertaining to a news story, so I decided to go live once I got the said information. Thank you all so much for joining the Queen. After I give my commentary, feel free to hit the link to give your opinion pertaining to the information in the videos, and also my third source will be an article to recap what was said in the audio. Thank you for joining me. This is Everyday Shenanigans. Where is Summer Wells?
Well, today, for the first time, we're learning the lead investigator in the Summer Wells case is speaking out. The pressure has been immense on the Hawkins County Sheriff's Office to figure out what happened to a little girl who reported missing back in June.
Ansley Daniel has been following this case closely. She has an update. Ansley?
Josh and Sarah, there was frustration, some anger, and the presence of a heavy burden when I sat down with the detective John Pruitt with the Hawkins County Sheriff's Office. He's led this investigation into Summer's disappearance. He told me that as difficult as this case is to work, he is nowhere near giving up.
It was a lot to shoulder, it's a lot to burden. We have a missing child that we haven't found yet.
Almost 10 months and so much heartache. And investigators aren't immune from that hurt. The question of what happened to Summer Wells still has no answer.
There haven't been very many cases like this. I have never worked a missing child case with all these different entities and agencies involved.
The lead investigator on the case says his days are devoted to finding her.
My day, I check tip line and voicemail when I first get here. I do phone calls and follow-ups on any credible leads I've got. I follow up on anything that I didn't get to a good conclusion the day before. Then I go into my normal caseload of any new cases I've got. I follow ups on them.
They've received nearly 2,000 tips.
I will follow up on everything I can to try to bring closure for this.
Self-proclaimed online investigators and social media sleuths have turned this case into a mess of ideas. And tips have come in from everywhere across the U.S. and even overseas. That help, Pruitt says, has led to little more than time wasted.
If these people want to help so much, we always accept applications to certified individuals.
He says the investigation has led to the continued thought that if Summer is found, it will be nearby.
I believe that she would probably be somewhere close by, because we found nothing to lead us to believe that she's been abducted or trafficked out of the area.
Pruitt works alongside the TBI and FBI. Along with the ground search, Pruitt says investigators have poured through data. Almost a year into the case, and Detective Pruitt says it still remains a very active investigation.
I'm not going to let it go cold.
Well, Detective Pruitt assures that what happened to Summer Wells is still being investigated daily. Tonight at 6, he walks us through each day and what it is like for a case that is like no others for all the investigators involved.
Ansley, thanks. And an Amber Alert remains active for Summer Wells. If you have credible information that could help investigators find her, call the Tennessee Bureau of Investigation at 1-800-TBI-FIND.
All right. Thank you all so very, very much. That is source number 1 by WJHL. This is a part 1 and part 2 video uploaded to the queue. He's never seen this many entities working to find a missing child. This is his first time experience dealing with several entities. Always remember the details. Why is that? I will now play you part 2. This was uploaded 2 hours ago in the YouTube queue. Thank you so much for joining me.
The disappearance of Hawkins County 6-year-old Summer Wells. For the first time, we have heard from the lead investigator with the Hawkins County Sheriff's Office.
And tonight he tells us what this investigation looks like right now.
Josh and Sarah, the case of Summer Wells does not look much different today than what it did when I first reported live on authorities searching out in Beach Creek back in June of last year. Now, authorities are spending more time than ever before fielding through false tips as well as false hope.
It's sporadic. One day you might get 5 leads. The next couple of days you might not get anything. But it's been an active investigation that I've been devoted to since it first occurred.
As Summer's disappearance approaches the 10-month mark, the scenarios of what happened the night of June 15th continue to grow.
The wandering away, sneaking off to go play or whatever she may have done, that is a viable option.
The night she went missing, authorities said she walked away from her house. The following day, an Amber Alert was issued.
People are probably tired of hearing this. All possibilities are on the table. We're not completely eliminating the abduction idea, but there's nothing to lead us to believe that we need to focus on that alone.
In the height of the search, those on the ground combed through miles of tough, rugged terrain, leaving many to wonder how there was no trace of little Summer.
She was like 3 foot, 40 pounds. It would be a lot easier for her to get through some of the foliage, and she's lower to the ground. Smaller body, a lot more flexible.
Along with the ground search, Pruitt says investigators have poured through data.
We have gone through reams and reams of data. We've collected statements. We've chased down every credible lead that has been given to us. And we are still not much further along than when we started. Surveillance videos, GPS locations, cell phone tracking, cell phone data, electronic data, anything that we could think of to get our hands on.
As time continues to pass since that June day, it's increasingly hard to hold on to hope.
9 months in. I would hope that she is still alive somewhere, but we also have to be open to the idea that is no longer a possibility.
Pruitt says that he has never worked a case like this with so many different entities involved, and he says it's still baffling that it looks the same as it did that night that Summer was reported missing. Coming up tonight at 11, we learn more about Summer's family's relationship with law enforcement, especially as her father remains jailed and lawyers are now involved.
Ansley, thanks. And the Tennessee Bureau of Investigation's Amber Alert for Summer remains active tonight. You can call in credible tips to 1-800-TBI-FIND.
Cash App's debit card is customized.
Sorry about that. Thank you all so very much. Well, you got a little bit of information there at the end, at part 2. Everything looks the same as it did June 15th. And lawyers are involved. You need verification for what I just played. WJHL is the source. You know the Queen's going to chop it up here in a minute. Source number 3. To recap what was said in the videos. Thank you for joining me. Lead investigator for Summer Wells case speaks for the first time. The pressure has been immense on the Hawkins County Sheriff's Office to figure out what happened to Summer Wells, who was reported missing back in June 2021. It was a lot to shoulder. It's a lot to burden. We have a missing child that we haven't found yet, said Detective John Pruitt with the Hawkins County Sheriff's Office. Pruitt led the investigation into Summer's disappearance. Almost 10 months in and so much heartache, and investigators aren't immune from hurt. The question of what happened to Summer still has no answer. There haven't been very many cases like this. I have never worked a missing child case with all these different entities and agencies involved, he said. Remember those words. His days are devoted to finding her. My day, I check the tip line and voicemail when I first get here. I do phone calls and follow-ups on any credible leads we've got Pruitt said. I follow up on anything that I didn't get to a good conclusion the day before. Then I go into my normal caseload of new cases. I've got follow-ups on them. Investigators have received nearly 2,000 tips. It's sporadic. One day you might get 5 leads, then a couple of days you might not get anything. But it's been an active investigation I've been devoted to since it first occurred, he said. I will follow up on everything I can to try and bring closure for this. The night she went missing, authorities said she walked away from her house. Remember those words as well. The following day, an Amber Alert was issued. The wandering away or sneaking off to go play or whatever she may have done, that is a viable option, he said. People are probably tired of hearing this. All possibilities are on the table. We're not completely eliminating the abduction idea, but there is nothing to lead us to believe that we need to focus on that alone, quote unquote. In the height of the search, those on the ground combed through miles of tough, rugged terrain, leaving many to wonder how there was no trace of Summer. She was like 3 foot and 40 pounds. She's lower to the ground, smaller body, a lot more flexible, Pruitt said. Pruitt works alongside the Tennessee Bureau of Investigation and the Federal Bureau of Investigation. Along with the ground search, those investigators have poured over data. Surveillance videos, GPS locations, cell phone tracking, cell phone data, electronic data, anything that we can think of to get our hands on, he said. We have gone through reams and reams of data. We have collected statements. We've chased down every credible lead that's been given to us, and we are still not much further along than we started. Self-proclaimed online investigators and social sleuths have turned this case into a mess of ideas and tips from everywhere across the U.S. and overseas, Pruitt said. Remember, he said that as well. The deficit, there are the people that get on the rumor mill of social media or people that think they have special connection to the spirit world or the specific deities, said Pruitt. None of those have panned out worth anything, quote, unquote. That help, and these are in quotation marks, Pruitt says has led to little more than time wasted. Remember that as well. If these people want to help so much, we are always accepting applications from certified individuals, he said. He says the investigation has led to the continued thought that if Summer is found, it will be nearby. Remember those words as well. I believe that she would probably be somewhere close by because we have found nothing to believe that she has been abducted or trafficked out of the area, he said. Almost a year into the case, and Detective Pruitt said it remains a very active investigation, but it's increasingly hard to hold on to hope. I'm not going to let it go cold, he assured. We are 9 months in. I would hope that she is still alive somewhere, but we also have to be open to the idea that that is no longer a possibility. WJHL.com is the source. Now for my commentary. Thank you for joining me. Where is Summer Wells? The lead investigator, Mr. Pruitt, has finally decided to speak. He's given his rendition of what his day is like going into the office. He checks all tips coming in, voicemails, anything that happened the day before. He double checks before going into his new cases. Thank you, sir, for your diligence. Active Amber Alert still on the table. My. So many entities helping this case. He's never seen it before, never experienced it before. That should tell you something, see. Why are there so many agencies involved in searching for Summer Wells? The tips that have come in from all over the world, United States, have not been helpful. Online sleuths and what I call messy boots and meddling people. Have these said people detered this case? Deterred this case? Because you see, what you don't think about when you are having your psychic vision or your dream or your thought process or your visions, You are taking up somebody's time to get the job done towards a viable lead. And if you need to look up the word viable, I suggest you check Google. I'm not going to explain what the word means. You see, that's what some of you don't seem to understand. 2,000 tips. So imagine different people calling with absolutely nothing. And they follow up on your tip, the tip that you think that's going to help, the tip that you know was not going to help, but because you have nothing to do with your time, but waste these investigators' time. Yeah, I said that. You're not helping the child. You're not helping the investigators. You see, they have a job to do. And their job is to find the child. But they can't do that if you are calling in worthless tips. If she wandered off or went to play, he believes she will be close by. Because so far, no information has led to an abduction theory. Wandering off. Traffic, it's all the same. But they're not eliminating abduction, but it will not stand alone as the focus. And maybe somebody in the back needs to hear that. Those who wants to tell us that it's so deep. Yeah, okay. They've checked much data. Phone data, GPS. What do they have? Obviously nothing. What are their leads? Obviously nothing. Did the people who got rid of Summer Wells dupe LE? Or is this a ruse by LE? Because I always remember they don't tell us everything. Could they be just saying this so somebody can continue to be comfortable? Or have we all been hoodwinked and bamboozled? And perhaps the people that we believe to be the culprits, which are the bio donors, they were crafty in getting rid of Summer Wells. Because if she didn't wander off, if she was not taken, kidnapped, if she wasn't trafficked, sold by the parents, then that only leaves the one option that most of you don't want to hear. She was intentionally killed. So you can now stop with your theories of footprints in the sand and the hourglass turning upside down. Give it a rest. The man has spoken. I find it interesting about the wandering off comment. Because you see, TBI, Miss Earhart gave that statement early on after the Amber Alert was issued. But the weird thing, and maybe it's not really weird, it's what's obvious, suspicious, is that when the parents gave their rendition to WJHL, the child's last, how can I word this? She was allegedly last seen inside of a house. She went into the house is what the parents said. So how is it that now the lead investigator has spoken and his version is of the same as Miss Earhart, that the child was on the property? So that means somebody is lying. Somebody has lied. Past tense. Come on with it, Queen. Candace, you lied. Because now the investigator has spoken and his version is the same as Miss Earhart. Well, wandered off, walked off. Well, that means you had to have told them that because they don't know no more than what you told them. So why the fuck did you tell them she wandered off, but you told the news, you went in and planted flowers, walked over to the house, got done with your mama fooling with her knee brace, walked back into the house, called for the little girl, no answer. Which is it, Candace? She walked in the house or she didn't? Hell, did she even make it to the house from the swim hole? Thank you, CR, baby. Thank you for the love, baby. I appreciate it. Which is it? Because you see, this is a major discrepancy by you, dear. And since you have been so kind to oblige, shut up, Queen, don't do that. Some cinema somethings on your lives and jumping on panels, maybe you'd like to clear that up for us before June 15th, 2022. Tell us which version is the truth. You walked her over to the house and went downstairs and you didn't see her, or which is it? She walked herself out of the house and you saw her walk out of the house. You watched your child walk the hell away. Is that what you're saying? Because it sounds like that's what they're saying. She wandered off. Well, you can't wander off unless somebody saw you wander off and they didn't stop you. Help me understand. And lastly, the best part of the article. And make sure you hear this loud and clear, Donald Wells and Candace Bly Wells. Everything looks the same as it did June 15th, 2021. And we're now in April 2022 with no leads, no viable leads, tips. And lawyers are involved. So I'm going to ask you, Candace, since you're the one that's free and can talk and the only one that's been talking live lately, you said you ain't got no lawyer. Your mama said you ain't got no lawyer. Your mama said, well, I don't know what Don got going on. But here this man is telling me, us, we, they, there's some lawyers involved. So who hired a lawyer? Candace Bly Wells. I'll wait. You see, this is what I like about the fact that you love going live and going on people's panels. They ain't got the guts to ask you what they should ask you. And you definitely ain't got the guts to tell them what they should be asking you. Such as, did your child walk in the fucking house June 15th? Did you bring your child home June 15th? Why did you give a different version to the news of your child planting flowers and walking in the house and then she was gone versus Earhart and now the lead investigators saying the same thing? She wandered out, walked off. You had to have told L.E. your child was seen on the property and you watched her walk around, because you can't go out of the house and tell somebody they left the house unless I saw you leave the house. So which is it? She was playing outside. She was playing inside. She went outside. So she couldn't have been abducted then if she wandered off. She walked off. She was carried off. She rolled off. Which is it? You see, Candace, I'm not your average YouTuber. I don't believe in fairy tales. I don't believe in duck, duck, goose and flying saucers and painted ponies with Korean hair. I don't rock like that. I deal with the real world. And I know you've given a different version pertaining to June 15th, 2021 too many times. And I know you gave a different version to the dispatch. You gave a different version to WJHL. And you gave a different version to law enforcement. And now you have a lawyer, which you lied, said you didn't. One of you hired a lawyer. And 9 times out of 10, the lawyer would work for both of you and your husband, because what would be the point of only one of you having an attorney? You see, there's a possibility Summer Wells never made it to 110 Ben Hill Circle Way. How about that part? How about when you left Kingsport, you dropped the baby, dropped off Boy H. That's when the plan went on to where the hell it was going. You took your child and dumped her back there in Beach Creek because that's something else that he says in his commentary, that he believes she's nearby. You see, there's a reason he said that. Because he doesn't have any information to show that somebody came and took your child, abducted your child, trafficked your child. And he don't got nothing to say she wandered off either. Now, he let it be known it could be a possibility, because we know anything's a possibility. But the proof is what seals the possibility. And obviously, he knows his job. He was hired to do the job, so that means he's got credentials, such as what he told the nosy, messy people who have messed this investigation up. If you got some credentials, go on and apply for a damn job. Has social media ruined this case to where we don't have an arrest, suspects, motive, nothing? Because some of you couldn't leave it alone and stay in your lane and mind your damn business. You want to be somebody so terribly. Yeah, I'm going to check everybody. I'm in the checking business as of late. Some of you are the cause of this. He said it. Thousands of tips that went nowhere. So you wasted these people's time. He says that as well. Didn't come from Angela. It came from Mr. Pruitt. And it's finally somebody told you all that all that meddling and all that banging on doors and banging on inboxes and driveways and calling with flying saucers and painted ponies and all of that bull is led nowhere. But yet you care for somewhere else. You all have been clout chasing random stories, and it needs to stop because it shows that you are ill. And I'm just going to tell you, from my standpoint, that to me, you are borderline the same as the people that got her gone. Come on with it, Quay. How are you different? How are you different than the people that got her gone? They got her gone because they didn't want her. You pretending to find her because you got some deep-seated issues inside of you to where you got to be calling these people and making up stuff. And they're following your leads thinking you know what the hell you talking about. You have no right to induct yourself in an active investigation. If you do not know Summer, you didn't know her parents, you weren't around her parents, you weren't around the child, you had no business calling in a tip. Period. And I'm glad he finally said it. So nobody can say, oh, y'all just making that up. He said it. You have messed up this investigation, meddling, and calling in stuff that went nowhere. Because for your information, somebody got to answer the phone and take your tip down. Somebody got to type it in and put it in a computer. Somebody then got to pass it to somebody. Then somebody got to pick up the piece of paper and go do all the phone calling and phone tagging off your lame ass tip. Because you don't know how to stay in your lane. This is real life. This is not TV. This is not a board game of Clue. It's not Monopoly. This is a real child missing. And it's time somebody checks some of you crazy nuts out there to let you know you have messed it up. Because you're messing with these people's time. The time they could be out here going, following a real lead, they're chasing shit you making up. For God knows what reason. Want to be seen, clout chasing, want to be important, psychosis going on, schizophrenic. I don't know what the hell wrong with some of you. I've seen some of your comments in the chat over the past coming up a year. Oh, I called the police station. For what? I had a dream. I called the police. I called the police because I think I know where she is. You did what? That's insanity. And a sign that you're sick. And you need to stay off social media. Because today, Summer Wells is still missing. And she is a real human being missing. Not a doll, not a toy, not a fable, not a story. She is actually real. And you have done the child more harm to get justice for her by playing on a cell phone with law enforcement. And I don't have any respect for anybody that gets down like that. Thank you for joining me. This is Everyday Shenanigans. If you want to donate to the channel, $ Beganji, 129 Cash App. All super chats are welcome during the live. Feel free to hit the link if you want to give your opinion to what Mr. Pruitt has to say about the case. No leads, open investigation, still an Amber Alert on the table. Everything is possible, but so far, nothing is concrete as for the abduction or the child wandering off. Thank you, Kinsley. Thank you, sweetheart. Where is Summer Wells? Who got her gone? What is the motive? How many people are involved? How many people are holding the secret, hiding the secret? And has social media been a hindrance to this investigation? Could there already be an arrest by now had some nosy Parkers stayed out of the way and stayed off the phone lines? Thank you for joining me. Thank you, mods. God bless you. And thank you, Mr. Pruitt, for finally speaking. Thank you very much. Sadly, it's not the information that we wanted to hear, but what options do we have at this point? We don't have any. Lord have mercy. Poor child. There's just no words to describe this story. I don't know which is worse, this or Cal City. Lord have mercy, Jesus. If we are to believe that the bio donors are the suspects, were they crafty enough to track themselves to not get caught? And that means if it is true what Mr. Pruitt has said about no information to lead to an arrest, suspects, whatever, then that means this was 9 times out of 10 a deliberate discarment of a child. Because to have no information, no lead, no abduction, no wandering off, that means Summer Wells was intentionally removed from the face of the earth. And that's where I'm leaning towards. And that's the worst case scenario. Because even if she was sold to somebody, 9 times out of 10, she probably still wouldn't be alive, because you have to use common sense of what the reasons a person would be wanting a 5-year-old child for. And we don't have to go into that description. So either way, sold, trafficked, intentionally murdered, 9 times out of 10, she is not alive. If she wandered off, she's not alive. And my better half is telling me that if it is true that they have no information, Summer Wells was intentionally gotten rid of by the hands of her bio donors, which means they planned this story, farce, ruse, abduction, allegedly. They got rid of her. And they covered their tracks. So that means this was planned. Hello, Kame. How you doing, baby?
Good. How are you?
I'm good. What do you have to say about what I read to you?
Well, you know, I heard it earlier.
Okay, that's fine.
And he was spot on. I have said it and I have felt it all along.
Do you think he was basically telling us that the child has left here by the hands deliberately.
Yes.
Okay.
He was saying it without saying it.
Yes, I agree.
And I think, it's great that YouTube is a platform where people can come and talk about a case, right? Keep it alive. But when you go and deliberately trek across states to go somewhere and cause complete and utter mayhem,
yes,
that's uncalled for.
Yes.
When we go back and we think about all the places that those people visited, the DA's office, TBI, what and who the hell do you think you are to go knock on the DA's door and basically think that they're going to tell some effing stranger what the hell is going on inside of their case?
Exactly.
Did they really think that's what was going to happen?
That's when you know. See, that's how you know you're dealing with people who are narcissists. They're just as sick as the people who got her gone. To me, they're no different because these people didn't want the child, got rid of the child. You're coming in, calling, meddling, making up stuff, and or traveling to the town, running around with microphones and cell phones, pretending to be investigative reporters, just making a fool out of your damn self. And now you should see that all this shit you've been doing has led to nothing, just something to make videos for. This is not a joke. And it's sad to me because she's a child. She had a right to live. She had a right to live. She had a right to be happy, but she was not afforded those opportunities.
Never from day one.
It shows me that they know it's jacked up. They know it's jacked up.
They know she's near. Yeah. And I'm thinking, of course, like he said, and most of us have said all along, they have all of these phone records. They have it probably from Granny, from Candace, from Dawn, from the neighbor, Pookie, Ray, whoever they need to have it from, right? Yeah. They know that Candace did not leave within that certain perimeter.
Yeah, I believe that. That's why I said I believe she went there directly from leaving Kingsport. Yep. And I believe she's discarded back there in Beach Creek. I don't know the proximity because it's not like they showed us an area view of how massive the land stretches out. But I do believe she's back there. I do believe that's why they've gone back to search. Numerous searches back there. You're searching back there for a reason. You can search anywhere from here to New York. Why are you back there? Because you know something, but you're not going to tell us.
Her phone is pinging there. Her phone has to be pinging there.
Yeah.
Her or Granny's. So one of the phones is pinging there, and that's why they have went back however many times, 5, 6, 7, 8 times that they have went back. But enough is enough.
Yeah.
We don't need to be going and knocking. We don't need to be going and using mega horns.
Well, it's over with. See, that's what they don't seem to understand. It was over with when they started that mess.
Law enforcement owes us nothing. They owe us nothing. Why would anybody assume that they're just going to get on, national TV and they're just going to disclose everything? For what? So those idiots can, get rid of potential evidence, get rid of this, get rid of that. I really believe it's time for everybody on YouTube, like I said last night, stop, wrap it up. Let's see what happens within a few weeks. How stir crazy is this chick gonna get when everybody on YouTube stops talking? What is little Miss Sue gonna do when she has nobody listening to her and nobody bringing her up on the panel? What's Candace gonna do when no one is no longer listening to her or bringing her up, on their panel? This woman doesn't get on anybody's panel to discuss her own child.
Yes, and a lot of people are saying that, and that's true. And Candace Bly, what is your problem with not talking about your child, not talking about your children? You're talking about everything else from Mountain Dew to whiskey. Nobody gives a damn about that stuff you're talking about. That's why we know you did something to your kids. See, the proof is in the pudding for me. That this is your opportunity to show the world you care for your child, you care for your children, but you refuse to show any type of emotion. You've never cried. Maybe you should take some lessons from the lady that's the mother of Miss Iriana that went missing out in Nevada and now found dead in her grave. She cried for her child. She pled for her child. She had the abductor to bring her child back. That's something you and Donna Wells never did. You never talked to the abductor to bring your baby back. Why not? So you motherfuckers that like talking to her, why don't you ask her, why don't you talk about your baby? Why didn't you plead for your baby? Why don't you plead for your baby now? You go live every fucking night. You don't talk about that kid.
You know, I don't believe that she has a lawyer. Any credible attorney would shut that shit down long ago. Whether you hired them 6 months
And let's
ago,
talk about that too. Now it's been mentioned again by another investigator that they lawyered up. So that means Ronnie Lawson wasn't lying and Mr. Pruitt isn't lying.
So here's the question. Why hasn't the lawyer came forward? Hey, I'm representing the Wells and this is that. No,
He don't have to come forward because they haven't been charged with anything for him to come forward.
Well, you would think though. I mean, if that was me.
No. I don't want you knowing I got a lawyer. Why you think she lied, KM? Think about it now. Think about it. They have not formally charged them with anything. So why would I tell you I got a lawyer?
I guess
I got a lawyer because I'm tired of you calling me, asking me. This is what I've been telling you all.
Yeah, no, that's
true. How many times have they asked them to come down to talk? Then that means she's probably declined. And they both declined. And so they went and got a lawyer. But they're never going to tell YouTube, social media, they got a lawyer because they know how bad we talk about them as being guilty. I'm not going to give you what you want by telling you I hired a lawyer. You will find out when the police put me in handcuffs. I got a lawyer.
You know, what is she going to do? Because homeboy's never coming home. He's going to be extradited after he serves his time in Tennessee. And if there is truly charges now, and they have read him his rights or whatever the hell they did, he's gone. They're going to extradite him and handle, that whole deal over there.
And then what if they don't? And then let's go there about that situation. And then what if they don't?
Exactly. What if they don't? Then all of that shit that all of those women have stirred up and interfered and taken the spotlight away from that little girl, because that's what I believe that they have done. They have inserted themselves into a missing 5-year-old. They took it away from her.
Well, my thing is,
went from panel to panel talking about what happened to them.
They late dollar short. She came up, that woman thing came up in one of my feeds talking about cooking, and I thought, were you on YouTube before the little girl went missing?
Nope, never.
See, that's grimy, man.
This was their cash cow.
But yet these people that act like they're so normal can't see that. These people were not on social media before Summer Wells went missing. Now we got somebody that's the aunt talking about cooking and eating and snacks and shit. I don't know how y'all don't see that don't look good. That's not a good look.
No, I haven't heard one.
But that's not look good.
Beg. I haven't heard one of those women beg publicly. Neither one of them have went to the news and said, we are begging for her. Please, Dawn. Please, Candace. Tell us where our niece is. Nothing. They went on there.
No, the only something they talk about. Only thing those sisters talk about is that essay from the past.
Exactly.
That's all you ever hear. Now you got one, Mary got a cooking channel. That shit looks weird as fuck to me. I'm sorry. That's my opinion. That just don't look right. It don't look right.
It's all disgusting. It's disturbing. They should be ashamed of themselves, and I know that they're not, because that's just.
But that's to be expected from street people. This is why I keep telling everybody, the reason these stories mimic each other from one side of the country to the other is because the people are similar in nature. The people they fraternize with are like them. The people coming out of clown cars are like them. That's why this case is so grimy. It's because they are street people that have immersed themselves in the case. Those who got the child gone, they're street people. They're friends, street people. This is what you get.
CR just said it right. CM started this tornado. He opened this dirty door and gave this bitch millions or hundreds of thousands or however many views that she got. My opinion, he had no business talking to her. I don't give a shit if you're current law enforcement, if you're retired law enforcement, you should know better. Shame on you. You
Yeah,
had
he
no
should.
business going knocking on that woman's door and, doing an interview.
Well, you didn't have no business talking to a child that is a potential
No,
witness.
a
Everybody knows
15-year-old
that.
kid at that.
Everybody knows that. And he knows that. He's a former cop. He knows that.
Well, he opened up a
Because
nasty can of
naturally,
worms that
law enforcement told H not to talk to anybody. I'm sure they told him that.
that tells me what type of LE he was.
Well, see, that's the thing about this whole story. Like I'm going to say it 1,000 times over. These people are self-serving. All these people are self-serving that have immersed themselves in the case. The people that got are gone. They are all self-serving. That's why you have this big debacle on YouTube, social media, because they're all street people. We say it 1,000 times. They're street people. And this is what you get when you deal with street people. Drama, chaos. He said, she said. It's always something with that. Let me tell you what I guess it was AB that told it last night about Allie arguing with the neighbors. I guess we now know who the mystery person is that was giving the information to a YouTuber. And they're arguing back and forth. See, that's ghetto ratchet right there. I already knew it was a neighbor. When a woman was giving all this information recently about somebody talking to her, they didn't want to reveal themselves. The next thing you know, they're on a live and they're all arguing with each other. How ratchet is that?
It's foul. They're all foul.
These YouTubers don't realize they don't live in Rogersville or Hawkins County. So you're talking to these people and they're going toe to toe with each other, bickering and falling out. It's only a matter of time that somebody's going to get hurt. And you're not going to be anywhere but somewhere in your cushy ass house across the pond or across the United States listening to the shit unfold on the news. And you're not going to be able to do anything for those people but say, oh, I'm so sorry that happened to you. Off because you want content for your channel. But these YouTubers don't care anything about none of these people. They sit there and talk all that junk about, oh, I believe this one, I believe that one. You don't care anything about them folks because I'm telling you, if something jump off, where are you going to be? Where are you going to be to help? Right. Nowhere. Sitting on the sidelines waiting on the news. It's ridiculous.
It's all a big old shit show. All of it. They think it's a joke. It gives them, clicks and views, and it's a disaster. They're not using this platform
as they should, right? Because in the end, like I said, when the dust settles, whenever that may be, them YouTubers on to talking about something else and meddling with somebody else's personal business. While you sitting up here jacked up, the talk of the town. What is that noise in the background?
I think my phone is breaking up.
Okay.
I'll go out and come back.
You're gonna be left to your own devices. That's the thing. And the YouTubers gonna be gone. And I don't understand why these people, such as Candace, Dawn, Allie, all of them can't see. These people are just using you to make a video. I don't see why you can't understand that. There's nothing wrong with trying to get some information, but there's a way of doing things. And I don't think most of the people who are talking about these people, Summer Wells, and all these entities, I don't think they're genuine. I really don't. Hit the link if you want to give your opinion pertaining to the information I've relayed in this video. Investigator Pruitt is giving his rendition of what his days have been like working on this case. I played 2 videos and also brought you an article pertaining to the said information. At the end of the last commentary I read, he said that they have lawyered up. So I'm assuming he's talking about both bio donors, the Wells. So what is the line about? Candace said she don't have a lawyer. The mother spoke and said she didn't have a lawyer. The mother said she didn't know if Don had one. But yet, Investigator Pruitt has said they've lawyered up. I do believe they have a lawyer. I believe they've lied to the public because they knew that you all would scrutinize them for having a lawyer. And the first thing you'd say is, well, why would you have a lawyer? You haven't even been arrested. So what do you need a lawyer for? Because they stopped cooperating. It's obvious. They stopped cooperating. So now you have to ask the ultimate question. When did Candace and Donald Wells stop cooperating with law officials? I believe AB said they've been done it. Probably day one. Yes, small fries. Very good point. Keep in mind, most people who you think are your friends only claim you if there is something you can do for them. Very true. Very true. And I wouldn't consider anybody in this social platform a friend if I was somebody coming up giving a version pertaining to Summer Wells, Donald, Candace Bly. How on earth could you ever think any of these people are your friends? Because like I said, they didn't know you before this. And they don't care anything about you. And Candace should know this better than anybody. Because she's the highlight of the story right now. It's supposed to be about Summer Wells, but right now it's Candace. These people don't like you. They're not your friends. They don't give a damn about you. And when they put you in handcuffs, I'd like to see one YouTuber meet you at the jail. Ask to bond you out if there's a bail. You see. See, that's what they tell you about your friends. Get into some trouble, and that's when you'll find out who your real friends are. People pushing you to talk and act the fool on lives. See where they are when you get arrested. See where they are when you need your bills paid. See where they will be. Nowhere. Moving on, talking about something else. Robbing another innocent story to promote their channel. You're not very bright. You may have been bright in getting rid of Summer Wells, but you're not bright in the knowing when you're being used department. And that says a lot about who you are. You and Donald. But you're both empty vessels. Passing ships. But eventually, the ship's going to sink. Because God don't like ugly. They don't like ugly at all. Yes, that's true, Empty. If you tell the truth, the story doesn't ever need to change. Exactly. So true. Yes, well, they're both heartless. They're both very heartless. Well, I brought you the set information. Basically, no new leads, no arrests. It's very depressing, quite frankly. Mr. Pruitt basically says they are nowhere. They're no further than they were June 15th, 2021. That's just, oh, Lord. They're not eliminating abduction, but they don't have any information to say that she was abducted or wandered off. So that theory is not going to stand on its own. And it's not their focus. And he does believe that if she wandered off, she's nearby. And I believe there's a reason why he said that. Because they know something. They just can't tell us. But I do believe they think she's back there in Beach Creek. And they've checked all cell phone data, GPS data, phones. Lord have mercy. What a mess. Oh, Lord. You have something you'd like to say pertaining to the information by Mr. Pruitt. The fact that they've lawyered up. The fact that this case isn't standing on the child wandering off or abducted. Please hit the link. And the fact that social media has also played a part in this dirty story of a child missing. People coming up with their own innuendos and intuitions and psychic readings and visions. And they have I believe, hindered the investigation. And he basically has said that in this commentary, that those tips led nowhere. So if you have something you want to tell them about Summer Wells, they prefer that you are professional. You're going to give any type of information. Lord have mercy. What a mess. What a mess. 208 viewing. Thank you so much. That's it. Nothing more. I wish I had more exciting news to give you, but I don't. This is just a bad situation. Really bad. It's horrendous, actually. Because I can only imagine what happened to her. And I don't even want to think about what happened to her. Just, oh, Lordy. That's why I know this is intentional. She was gotten rid of intentionally. Wait a minute, 1 minute, Christina. Hold on, babe. I'm putting the link down. All right, Diane, good night. Hello, Christina. How are you doing?
I'm good. How are you?
Kind of thrown off right now with this news from the Detective Pruitt, investigator. It's very depressing.
Well, he did confirm something I said 6 months ago.
And what was that?
She's close.
Yeah.
She's close.
I think we knew that from them going back here November and here recently this year.
I say she's within 1 mile of that house.
Okay.
I mean, I'm not a gambling woman, but I'd put it on the line and say I'm pretty dang close on that one.
Oh, man.
You know, I mean, he even kind of confirmed that too.
Well, do you think these people have gotten over? Because that's how this sounds right now, unless they're just not telling us everything. But look how long it's gone. There's got to be some truth into what he's saying because it's almost a year.
Well, the thing is, they ain't got to tell us what they know.
Oh, yeah, I know that, but I'm just saying, still a year, though. You know, when you're living in a world of, sorry. Well.
Yeah, I mean, it's hard to say because the investigators, you know, and the people involved.
Christina?
You know, yes, I'm here. Can you hear me?
I don't know what I done.
Can you hear me?
Christina?
Yes, can you hear me?
Yeah, I think I had hit the wrong button. I was trying to do something. I had got turned off. Repeat what you said. I'm sorry about that. Go ahead.
I said the thing is the people that are involved, the investigators and so forth, other parties, TBI, FBI, you know, they're in the know. They do this for a living.
Yeah.
And they're not going to say what they know, but I think we're getting close. I think it's just a matter of time now.
You know, yeah, but you know, we've been saying that for months now, though.
I don't know. I mean, this investigator, you know, his first time ever making a public statement. He seems like he's pretty dang determined to solve this one.
Well, let's just say for the record, they don't have anything. How about that? Let's just go there. What if they don't have anything? Then that means this was planned. Let's just say for the record, they don't have anything. No pings, no nothing.
Yeah, I mean, that's a possibility too.
Yeah.
You know, let's have to look at it from all angles.
And that will be even more disturbing if we find out they don't have anything. Hello,
You know,
Nifty.
but
Where you calling from?
I'm calling from Southwest Florida.
Okay, Southwest. Go ahead, Chris. Finish what you were saying.
I even forgot what I was going to say now.
Okay. Go ahead,
Sorry.
Carl.
I kind of agree with the lady that said that she's within a mile, because the way that they searched was like a 4 mile radius, but I believe it was a mile wide and 4 miles into their property.
Mm-hmm.
And that's not even the entire Wells property.
Mm-hmm.
So a mile wide, I mean, if in the country isn't that's not that far. I'm down by the Everglades. So a mile in the Everglades isn't very far.
Okay.
And then 4 miles deep.
Okay.
So I think she's close there too.
Okay. Well, how do you feel about them at the end of my commentary, him saying that they've lawyered up?
I'm not surprised, and I agree with you. They're not going to tell anybody. Why would they?
Right. Yeah, especially so with everybody gossiping and talking. And
Well, yeah, they're
they're
trying to find out.
Sense.
Yeah, like who's the attorney? Who's the lawyer? Let me try to get a hold of him. They're going to harass the guy.
Yeah, yeah.
Or girl.
Well, let's go here. When did they hire their attorneys, I wonder?
I think early on, to be honest with you, when they stopped talking on the news.
Okay. Yeah.
And another thing that I went back today and started from the very beginning, because I broke up my foot. So I've been like watching a lot of YouTube. So I haven't had nothing to do. So I'm like, let me go back to the beginning and watch the first interview they done.
Yeah.
And then I watched it. Don Wells said that he left his house between 7 and 7:30 a.m. and covered Summer back up. She was still asleep.
Okay.
And went to work. I watched that interview. I watched the first interview with the interview room.
Okay.
Candace Wells was standing by the swimming hole and said that she doesn't really keep track of time, but she took her mom into the hospital around 8 a.m. So you're going to tell me that you got up that fast, drove into town, the Kingsport, which I believe is about a 20-minute drive via map. But after Dawn Wells went to work between 7 and 7:30, got her bathing suit on, got mom in the truck.
Yeah, well, it's about 35 minutes at least to drive to Kingsport, depending on which part of Kingsport you're going to. She had to have been already up when he was up.
Thank you. So that's where the lie started. And from that lie there, they've never been consistent.
Okay.
And that's why I said what I said. If you're telling the truth and nothing but the truth, your story will never change.
Yeah, deviate, right. Well, oh, Lordy. So why even lie about that morning then?
He started with a lie, you know what I mean? Or she or he or both, because their stories aren't matching. So they're covering for each other, I believe.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that
let's just say he found out afterwards what happened to the child, but he ain't gonna tell nobody. So he's speaking for what he saw at that morning. Could it be that?
Yes, I think so. I don't think that Don. I'm not saying Don's a good guy. He's a real SOB in my book. I'm not giving him any credit. I think whatever took place with Summer that day happened on Candace's time.
Mm-hmm.
She called Don. They were videoing back and forth with the messenger, whatnot. He's like, meet me here. I'll take care of it. Bada boom, bada bing.
Okay. My mod says he also said right after that he didn't really know what time it was. He switched up. Well, that's what happens when you talk so much. That's why it's recommended that you don't talk to people, random people. See, only a fool would have gone to all these social media outlets talking, because those are the wrong people that you talk to. You understand what I'm saying?
Yeah, exactly.
You don't talk, because when you talk to somebody personally and you don't have a real camera in your face, like a news camera, you will get comfortable, and that's where you'll mess up.
And you, from the very first interview they gave on the news and their local news outlets in the area,
Yeah.
was talking about missing Summer. They were almost like they sounded like they knew for sure 100% that she was 100% gone, abducted. No other choice, no other option of her walking off, nothing. It was 100% she's been stolen.
Mm-hmm.
To almost make it definite that she'll never be found.
Okay.
Because they know she'll never be found.
Yeah. But see, that's why I always tell people to listen to how a person talks. And anybody that's missing anybody, they're going to be positive. You know, I dealt with people recently, you know, when Deshina was missing, a young lady was missing here in Knoxville. These people were hopeful. They talked positive. You know, they was, you know, we want to find her. We want to find her. You know, nobody was talking negative. Even if they were thinking it, they weren't speaking it out to the public.
And I know from experience, my son had ran away when he was about 15. And he ran away from home with some friends. And they went to St. Louis, Missouri. They hitchhiked. My son didn't. Yes, ma'am.
From Florida?
My son, yes. No, I'm originally from Chicago, Illinois. So they hitchhiked.
That's dangerous.
Yes, ma'am. And as soon as he didn't come home during his curfew, I knew, because a minute to me is late. Okay. That's a minute I'm already worried. Okay. Too long. So in my home, when I brought it, I'm old now, but back in the day, if they were late a minute, that's late to me. Okay. Yeah. So my son was late when it didn't come home. I went to his friend's house. They're not home either. Well, I knew something was up.
Right.
So I called around. I went to the police station when it got early morning. No, and they said, well, we can't report him missing because one, he's 15. He could have, and I said, I know he ran away, but I need to find him. Okay. So I ended up going, I heard that through some friends that they hitchhiked to St. Louis, Missouri.
Okay.
So I ended up going to St. Louis, Missouri. I drove there. I went ahead and made flyers myself because the police would not help me. So I know what it's like to look for your son. I found him in 3 days. By just walking.
So now tell me again where you were living when he hitchhiked.
Chicago.
Okay, so so St. Louis isn't far from Chicago. Okay, but still, it's dangerous. Young people.
I live at the top. Yeah, 15 hitchhiking.
Dangerous.
Okay, very dangerous. So I knew that I was not stopping at all. I would not stop. I went into places that I shouldn't have been going in dark time in East St. Louis. I didn't care. I said, let me tell you what they're not going to do. They're not going to mess with a mama that's on a path to find her son. Go ahead. You either join me or get out of my way.
I've heard about how bad it was East St. Louis at one time.
And that's exactly where I found him. Him and 2 other buddies.
Doing what? Where were they?
They had decided that they wanted to go down there and do drugs.
Oh, I see. They couldn't do drugs in Illinois.
Well, I guess not. They had a big old plan that they were going to go, and they hitchhiked all the way to St. Louis, Missouri. I had to take my son to the hospital, and he had to detox off of heroin.
Yeah, your son's lucky to be alive, because that could have ended up a multitude of ways.
He was in a basement in a house when I found him. Some street people helped me find him. They're like, and I showed them a picture. They're like, here's where everyone hangs out. I went in there. Yeah. I found him, yanked his ass out, took him to the police station, and he had to detox off of heroin.
What was the information that led you to that house?
Well, I got some news from his friends in the area that we lived at. They said that him and 2 other friends were going to hitchhike to East St. Louis.
Mm-hmm.
I said, what are you talking? Like why? So people kept telling me that through the day. So I went ahead and just listened to what they had to say. And I went to East St. Louis and talked to the police. I walked the streets. I said, well, they're not going to be where the good people are. Why would they go there? Where are people that are up to no good, like drugs and shit like that? And they led me down. It took me 3 days. I had putting flyers up in all gas stations, everything. And someone, whenever I was on the street, said, who are you looking for again? And I showed them the picture, and they said, here's where kids come and hang out.
Well,
check it, and that's where he was.
How old is your son now?
My son is 31.
Okay, so that was a long time ago.
Yes, ma'am. And he's clean, sober, never, that was his stint with it. And never did. And I made him go back, though.
This is how you have terrible endings.
Yes, ma'am. And I stayed on it, though. But I'm going to tell you, I just didn't sit back like, well, he's gone. He's been abducted.
Yeah. Like, well, you got people their kids would run away and they wouldn't be out there searching for him.
No, no, no. The worst was going through my mind. You know, like I just really thought they would have he got with the trucker
Yeah.
and bad things just, happened to my
Yeah,
son.
anybody. It don't matter who it is, so long as they get in the wrong car.
Yes. So I just don't understand how she can just sit back and be drinking, having a great time with a little girl missing, her little baby girl.
Because this is who she is. That's what I've been telling everybody. Everything you see of these people is nothing new to them. This is their behavior before the child got gone and before the boys were taken. So I'm not surprised by anything I see with them. I knew that once he jumped on YouTube. I already knew what time of day it was. I said, this is somebody who's never had attention, and he is glorifying in the moment off the back of his child missing. So that's why I always thought they were guilty, because I knew a normal person wouldn't do this, wouldn't be talking to YouTubers. They wouldn't be going to the news with any information they want to give to the public. You wouldn't be talking to people on social media.
No, no. I mean, you don't have time. It's almost like a desperation takes over you, and you are so scared when your child's missing, or like my son just ran away and he was 15. If desperation comes over you as a mother, I can't speak for a father, but as a mom, like you turn over every rock that you could even possibly think.
Right.
So I don't understand how she could just nonchalantly just be like, well, she's been abducted.
Because she deliberately got her gone.
Because she knows.
People need to face the facts, because people go missing every day by the hands of another human being. All the stories you've been hearing as of late, somebody did that. The people didn't walk off, they didn't wander off, and they didn't run away. And they're not hiding out. They're dead.
They're dead. Somebody killed them.
That's what I'm saying. So I don't know why all of a sudden with this case, nobody can accept the fact that this woman possibly killed her kid. Why can't you accept that? Why? I don't understand it. Well, what is so different with this case, with this woman, versus all the other cases of people deliberately killing their kids?
Yeah, and there's really not a profile that fits, like you can't say, well, her profile just doesn't fit a killer. No, there isn't. I don't think there is a profile that you are profile.
Well,
that
they might have a profile for her kind. Nonchalant, not caring, troubled, abusive, been abusive to the children, had the state in her personal business. She fits the criteria for all the stories I've seen where the state came in and the children ended up dead after the fact.
Yeah, exactly. So I don't understand why it's so hard for I get it. I think that she has done something to her daughter. I think she has.
Yeah.
Because from a mother's point of view, you can't nonchalantly sit back and not turn over every stone until your child is found.
Yeah.
Look at Holloway. Her mother's still searching.
Yeah. And that's a very tragic situation.
She's still after all these years
somewhere, and then nothing.
Then just vanished.
Christina, what do you have to say?
Well, I've been sitting here kind of thinking back on these past months.
To the beginning? You going back to the beginning? Or somewhere in the middle?
Just kind of, reflecting back in my head. Things that the parents said. Mm-hmm. Things mom said. Things dad said.
Yeah.
They did that interview 10 days after she come up missing.
Yes.
And then all you heard Don talking about was, well, we'll see her in the resurrection. He kept beating it.
Let's just say he knew she was dead. You don't got no guarantee you can see her no damn where, because God may not have decided what He's gonna do with you yet. Shut up.
Well, yeah, I get what you're saying.
But you understand what I'm saying?
Yeah.
If you're speaking from knowledge that she's dead, you ain't talked to the Lord about your parts and where you going. Because the resurrection might not be your destination if you get my drift.
Yeah, you're not doing things like these people.
Hey, that door might have a padlock on it. Shut up, Quay.
But he kept over time. He would always go back to them.
Jesus said you can't come in.
We ain't home.
You don't get the pass go on this one.
No, exactly.
Mm-mm.
So
But I sit there and I thought, how many times have I heard him talk about that?
Mm-hmm.
Over all these interviews that always come up.
Yeah.
It's like he already knew.
Yeah. So that's why I said that's not a normal thing to say. And many people have said that. That's just not something you would even say a few days, not even 2 weeks into the child missing. You should still have hope even 2 weeks in. It's not like it's 6 months and then you make that comment about the resurrection. Or 3 months.
Any normal parent
worse
would have that hope that their child was still alive.
But let's talk about pleading, as you've seen, such as with the 18-year-old that was found dead in Nevada. Her mother cried and she pled to the abductor. Bring her back to me. These people never once identified the child with an abductor, but yet that's the yarn you spun. So when you plead to the abductor or abductors,
mm-hmm.
Bring her back. Yeah, we miss her. Bring her back to us, please. Nothing. Don't you find that strange? Come on now.
I find that
never.
Because that's what you're selling. That's what you've been selling, right? From day one. They took her. Okay, then why don't you talk to they? See, going to YouTube, you ain't plead up there, so you should went to the news and plead. Hey, I want to talk to you. You got my child. I don't know what you're going through, but please bring her back. We miss her. She's got brothers, blah, blah, blah. See where I'm going? That's what a normal person would do if they believe somebody took their child.
That is correct. I would be pleading.
You never talked to them. You never once pled. Neither parent pled, which told me she wasn't abducted. Because that's who I'm going to talk to is somebody who took her.
So I wonder, I know that the LE won't tell us much and they don't have to say anything to the public. And I get that. So I wonder, do they sit in like a conference room like we are now discussing all these possibilities? Like you just said, that's huge to me. Okay. That they have not one time come out and said, Mr. Abductor, what do you want? You want money?
Yeah, I was going to say that too. Right. Most people will say, I'll pay anything. That's what the right father said in the Camille McKinney case. He said, I got money. I'll pay what you want.
Right. Just drop her off here. No, nothing. Just drop her off. No, nothing else will happen. All is well.
We'll forgive you.
Right. So I wonder if LE sits and they discuss these scenarios to kind of pinpoint suspects. You know what I mean?
Well, you got to remember something about how many agencies, as Mr. Pruitt has told you. He said, I've never worked with this many entities on a case. So that was telling you something right there.
Mm-hmm.
So you work with all these people. Nothing's coming back. They're all professionals. They already know what happened to someone else.
Mm-hmm.
I believe a few days in, they already gathered. Because Earhart said that about 3 or 4 days into the investigation, we've never had a case to where after about 3 days, we had nothing. She said that.
Yes.
So that would tell you something. 3 days is now 10 months, almost 10 months. So how you go from 3 or 4 days to almost 10 months with nothing? Still. Because all roads lead back to 110 Ben Hill Circle.
Yes, it does.
All that fuddy-duddy talk of footprints in the sand and all that is make-believe. All that's been denounced and you don't hear them talking about it, and that should tell you something. They ain't talking about it because it ain't true. If the child walked to a neighbor's house, how quick you think a dog would have followed her scent and found her? See, this is why I keep telling people, stop making that stuff up because you sound ridiculous. Those neighbors that she fooled with or knew of and she wanted to go play with her puppy or dog, a dog would have found her scent. And it would stop right wherever she left her feet would have been. It's common sense.
Right.
So they never go talk to the neighbors. Well, hey, the scent stops at your door. So how you going to explain that? So see, people don't think when they talk.
They sure don't. It's
The police would have kindly told you, we got her scent and it stops over here at Pookie's house. Why would I not tell you that?
right. And they say it stops at the driveway.
Yeah, well, so that means how can it stop at the driveway if somebody saw footprints over at another neighbor's house?
Right. And why would it stop at the driveway if she went into the house? Why wouldn't it follow the scent into the house?
Well, so you got maybe she did make it back and she left out that way. So we don't know. We don't know anything.
Right.
So we don't know.
Right.
We don't know if she ever made it back. If this was her coming out, coming in.
Right.
But
it's a mess.
It eliminates somebody else's house and her footprints being over across the street.
Yeah.
There's no way the dogs wouldn't smell her scent down the road or across the street. It's very telling. Quite depressing, really.
Yeah, I was hoping that the news conference was gonna, maybe say we have some news.
Yeah, something better.
But nothing. I was so sad. I was kind of like, dang.
Well, the ending was enough for me when he mentioned the lawyers.
Yep. Well, I'm going to jump off here and let.
All right. Thank you so much for joining us. Have a beautiful week.
You too, dear. Bye-bye.
Okay, bye. Well, just me and you, Chrissy.
Just me and you, Queen.
Dang.
Here's what I want to know.
Go ahead.
How many throwaway phones did they have?
Who knows?
I mean, they could have had a whole crap load of those.
And especially if you're doing stuff you ain't got no business, you're going to have some separate phones. And, I always say have a spare anyway, because anything can go wrong with your phone. I have several just for using Wi-Fi and 2 that are actually working phones. You understand what I'm saying?
Yeah. If you out doing some shady dealing, you ain't going to use your main phone. You're going to have a different phone.
Yeah.
And then you're going to have a different phone.
And that's the thing about that. The only way the police is going to get anything that they don't think you turned over, they'd have to get a search warrant. And you have sense enough to get rid of it by then.
Yeah.
If they think you got another device you've been using. So see, that's where the catch comes in. How many devices did they have, and what was actually turned in and what was actually returned?
So if this was all premeditated.
Yes.
And they had, say, 3 or 4 burner phones each that they was doing their shady dealings up with. They could have, before she got gone, they could have got rid of all those phones.
But that's what I'm saying. You don't even have to have a whole lot of burner phones. If you just want to get rid of somebody, you just don't take your damn phone with you to do the drop.
Right.
You cut it off. You cut off the main one you're using, and then you get ready to discard the body. You cut your phone off. Preferably, you cut it off a little ways before you get to where you're getting ready to take the body.
Yeah, but for them,
you turn the phone off in Kingsport.
For these people to keep going back to the same place, looking.
Yeah, that's why I tell people it's obvious. Yes.
After time, there's something there.
Yeah, something back there, and that's even more creepy to know. Let's just go ahead and say she's back there, okay? How creepy is that to know she's back there, but you can't find her yet? That's eerie as hell.
I think they'll go back again.
Well, we got blooming trees and stuff right about now, and stuff will be popping up here shortly. Grass and all that. Be high.
Yeah, that's true.
If they do, this is the time to do it now before stuff starts, vegetating and popping up.
But with the investigators, the TBI, the FBI, all these people working together, and they do this for a living. It's what they do.
Yeah, and that's what I was telling Coffee, that obviously by day 3 or 4, when Earhart, when she gave that statement, they had already put together suspicions of what they think possibly happened to the little girl.
So I think, I'm just going to throw it out there, I think they know that she's already passed away.
Yeah, they know that.
They're just trying to figure out where she is.
With the remains, yeah, with the remains on.
And they need to find her to bring her home, like you said.
This amount of time, she wouldn't have survived but a couple of days out there with no water, no food. Let's just say she wandered off. She wasn't going to survive out there in the heat, in the weather, the humidity. And God forbid if a wild animal stumbled across her. So she wouldn't survive anyway, because she'd probably keep wandering, get more lost.
And what these parents and Grandis, don't call me Grandis.
Yeah, I remember that. I thought, ooh. And he apologized, didn't he? He said, oh, I'm sorry. That's what we call her here. Well, I don't like that.
They don't need a body to get a murder one.
Yeah. Well,
they don't need
all the devices and all that's going to come in, and the motive. So you're going to have to tie all that together to even do a murder one without a body. You're going to have to establish where they were, pinpoint every place. The who, the how, the why.
And the thing of it is, they don't have to tell you what they know, but I think they're working on something.
Yeah, it's been a long time.
Well, look how long it took for the little West boys for them to come up with something.
I don't think that is true, because remember, she said it in the affidavit. We got information week 1 that led us to give the case over for us to pick up the case from Cal City. So I think it was the children had told it. The children were probably interviewed and they told what happened.
Well, possibly.
It didn't matter. It didn't matter about having no bodies. The children told you, yeah, we beat them up, or this one did something. You understand what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But they had to, I guess, gather all the evidence to tie it up for court, because you got to have enough to make it stick for the grand jury. And keep the charge. Because
and the DA knows they only got one shot at it.
Right, that's it, yeah.
And no one is to blame. It takes time to build a case, and it is aggravating. But you got to let the process do what it needs to do.
Yeah.
But I think at the end of the day, when this baby's found, everybody's going to be real shocked at how close to home she's going to be.
Well, and that's the thing. Like I said, vegetation is going to start, popping up. You better get your tail on out there. But see, that's the whole point. Whether it's a mile, 2 miles, it doesn't really matter. You're still talking about on foot looking. And then you got to now know she's not whole. So that's tedious work.
Yeah. I mean, it's a lot on those people that go do that.
Yeah.
To go out and search and do the work they do.
Yeah.
Not everybody could do it.
That's true. Yeah. Yeah. I remember down in Florida last year when that tower fell down there, and I believe 1 or 2 or some of those guys passed out there when they were searching through all that rubble.
Yeah, I mean, it's a hard job.
Yeah, that's a hard job. I felt bad for them when I heard that. I thought, man, that's terrible. And they've settled the lawsuit too, by the way. I meant to mention that to the chat.
But, they're over here hollering, we ain't got lawyers. But when you have the lead investigator come out and say, well, now we got lawyers involved.
Yeah.
Something ain't right. They're lying. And I'm thinking, well, why are you lawyering up if you didn't do nothing?
Yeah. Well, and you haven't even been arrested. So that don't make any sense.
Yeah. You ain't even been charged.
Because that's the point I was making to AB last night. They have asked them to talk. They had to have asked them more than once, or can you come in? Can we? And then you went and got a lawyer. So that's what I want to know. How many times did they go back and ask them to talk before they got a lawyer? Was it after the interview? Was it, the second time, third time? What?
Yeah, I mean, we don't know exactly when the lawyer come into play.
Right.
It's a wild deal.
It's very sad.
The motive, I don't know exactly what the motive would be, but
well, I think you could think of a few reasons just from looking at how they behave on social media.
Well, I was thinking back to an actual live that you did at one time talking about how a mother can be jealous of their children.
Wow, really?
Yeah. I have a good memory.
Okay.
And
well, elaborate.
Well, Candace knew that Dawn thought very highly of Summer. And he gave her a lot of attention. I'm not saying the man didn't love the little girl. I'm not saying that. Or had feelings for her. But with her, Candace, seeing him give the little baby all this attention, she didn't like it.
Yeah.
Well, what did she do?
And I'm sure that has happened with many women and their girl children and fathers.
Yeah. So what does she do? I mean, we have this pretty little girl with the long, pretty blonde hair. What does she do? She starts trying to change her identity.
Yes. To make her unappealing.
Her head.
Make her unappealing.
Right. And I'm thinking, well, this woman, she could have done something to her own child out of pure jealousy.
Okay.
Because the dad was giving the baby a little more attention than her.
Okay.
I don't know really. I'm just talking about how I'm thinking. It makes sense to me. That's one motive. If I get rid of the baby, then he'll have to give me all the attention.
Could be combination too. I just don't want her no more. Tired of her.
Yeah.
Could be she was hard to handle. Because like I told Amy, maybe she had some developmental issues.
Or she may had.
Yeah. I think that was obvious when you saw the way she was acting in church. She wouldn't sit down and be still.
Yeah. I think she was just because Candace favored the boys. That was no secret.
Mm-hmm.
And here's this little girl, maybe in her young developmental years, little girls want their mamas.
Yeah.
And here she is, don't want nothing to do with her, so she's looking for other mother figures to fill that void. I think maybe that's why she hung on to Robin so much. Maybe trying into her.
So what are you saying about Candace's childhood?
I don't think she had a good childhood at all.
I think that's probably why she don't identify with females.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know. I think she had a very bad childhood.
Yeah.
I think the sister that come up missing was probably the most sane of all of them. I'm not saying she didn't have some issues either, but I think maybe she had dealt with hers.
Yeah.
And moved on, maybe through therapy or whatnot. And then she comes up missing.
Right. Yeah, I think her husband's behind her death.
I don't know. I've not really dug into that story.
Yeah. Well, our friend said she would never have left her children.
Yeah. Well, I mean, no mother wants to leave their children.
Yeah. Because my thing is, you see it's not working, start working on getting out. Start making provisions. Women do it all the time, so women can't say they can't leave because many women have left. And they've done better and made a way for themselves. And the children have turned out decent. So You don't know until you try.
I think of Candace and her sister when they were little.
Yeah.
Their mother is not a very feminine woman.
No, she's not.
So she probably grew up thinking that was the right way. And I have seen pictures of the sister that went missing, and she was very feminine. She was a pretty girl.
So when you say the right way, what do you mean by the right way?
Well, I mean, they grew up, you look at your mother like this is how a woman should be.
Okay.
They kind of, well, not really groom you, but you look to your mother as you're growing up.
Yeah, I understand.
Yeah. And they're seeing their mother who was masculine.
Yes.
And they're thinking, well, that's how it's supposed to be. They didn't know any better.
Right.
And then, I think that's why Candace is the way she is, because she's not feminine at all.
Yes.
And then, the other sister, well, she was feminine. She was a pretty girl.
Yes, she was.
And she was, living her life, doing her things, and then she comes up missing. It's just craziness. I mean,
what are the odds of that? Who's to say that this, like I say, was all elaborate? She piggybacked off the fact her sister was missing and thought down the road maybe somebody will think it's a connection. They won't look at us. So you have to think about things like that.
Yeah. They might say, well, they just that family just has a lot of bad luck.
That's what I was going to say. Well, that's what I'm saying. Perhaps it's not even that happenstance. This was all deliberate, and she knew for her selfish reasons that she didn't want the child, and then she probably thought about her sister, and that probably came up in her mind. This would be the perfect time. It'd be perfect to do it because people will probably think, oh, it must be some connection. So you have to think the way a crazy person thinks.
Yeah, because then they're going to get sympathy. Well, boy, your family has a lot of bad luck, don't they?
Yeah, a whole lot of bad luck.
Yeah, with all these people coming up missing.
I tell you what.
What's the odds?
I'm going to say, who's next on the list? Jesus. Next time we hear somebody say, Don, he shrunk and shrunk down into the damn toilet bowl.
I don't want anybody to come up missing, no matter whose family they belong to, because it ain't right. But
Lord.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, we didn't get the update or the information we wanted.
Yeah.
From this update from this investigator.
Yeah.
But it goes back to sometimes it just takes time, unfortunately.
Yeah. Well, I guess we'll see. I'm just like going with the flow, but that's the thing about life is time doesn't wait. Father Time, he doesn't wait on anybody. And that's what's sad about the situation. Nothing. It's just like this child was just a throwaway.
Yeah, and that's the sad part.
That's how it appears. She was just a throwaway. No meaning, no nothing.
And it's like I said before, if they didn't want her.
They had a bad track record with their own other children beside the ones they made together. And that speaks a lot too, because that shows us they didn't learn anything from their past. They really didn't have any business having any children, period.
Yeah, so what is this, 6, 7 kids that she's lost now?
I don't know.
Well, let's see. She had 2, she had 3, then 4. Yeah, that's 7 kids.
Yeah, 7, that's a lot.
Ain't she mother of the year?
CR says JS gives her the creeps. I wish you would stop. Stop doing what, CR? Hit the link. Tell us what you're talking about, huh?
Jody Sue gives me the creeps. Yeah. I ain't figured that one out yet. That woman.
Don't try.
I ain't going to.
This is what I've learned about cases like this with all these, as this detective would say, entities, because he's talking about investigator. I'm talking about the fools. I don't bang my head trying to figure them out because I know 9 times out of 10, it's probably a waste of time. You know, some people like to indulge in hearing what people have to say. But when I start seeing things that don't look right, and it's a day late, dollar short, I'm going to keep saying that, it doesn't mean anything to me. Because I know that in the end, if you're not going to talk about something viable pertaining to the child of that day or that time period, you know, close proximity, it's just going to make it worse with the he said and the she said. And that's exactly what has happened.
You know, at the end of the day, let's cut these extra people out of the picture, pin these 2 parents down, and make them tell us where this baby is.
Well, one's already
That's the
dead.
only way.
Just want to do the one that's free.
I think she'd squeal quicker than the other one would.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. Grab her by them toenails, she'd be hollering.
I mean, there's people out there that will do bad things to people just to get something solved.
Yeah, yeah. And that's what we were saying about the issue with Chris Rock and Will Smith, all that. You don't know who knows people, and people will retaliate against you. See, people, that's why, you know, people are sick, because you're out here doing something that you thought was right for whatever reason, but you don't know what somebody might do to retaliate against what you did to that man. You understand what I'm saying? People don't think like, people just don't think when they do stuff that it could turn out somebody could do the same to you.
Yeah, because somebody could said, you know, kind of know the story and set in on how she's acting in these interviews and saying, well, you're going to tell us one way or the other.
Mm-hmm. And you know what I thought about when this story started getting grimier and grimier and these YouTubers started getting involved? I said to myself, why hasn't anyone walked up to that house in the dead of night and paid them a little visit?
I don't know.
I mean, you know, something to think about. With the way everybody's been acting, cussing and fussing, why hasn't anyone just gone up there and paid them a visit?
That's what I've often wondered. That I'm surprised something hasn't happened to them. Because there are people out in this world that are just evil enough to do something like that.
Will. And this is what I always tell the chat. When you have nothing to lose, because I heard somebody mentioning that too with this issue with Will Smith and Chris Rock. When a person has nothing to lose, they don't care. So they don't mind coming up, busting you upside your dome or shooting you. You understand what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Because a lot of people live like this. That's why those people in penitentiary, they're there for a reason. Because 9 times out of 10, a lot of them had nothing to lose. They were wayward. They didn't care. They were empty vessels, narcissists, sociopaths, psychopaths. So I don't mind coming up to you, cutting your throat, and walk on off and go eat a sandwich. You understand what I'm saying?
Yeah.
They're born every day.
You know, and at the end of the day, there's always somebody with a little bit more money, a little bit more powerful, a little more in the game to get things done that they want to get done.
I don't know about them packing no heat. Yeah, granted, she might be carrying a gun. But
I mean, I'm like, it's
sober enough to carry a gun. You got to be sober to carry a weapon at some point. Candace don't stay sober enough to carry a weapon.
Then they'd probably be illegal if they did.
She'd have to stick to carrying a water pistol.
Nerf gun?
Which is so hell, you got to be able to hold it. You ain't gonna hold it with a Mountain Dew bottle and a whiskey bottle.
True.
Damn, that's a hell of a mix. Mountain Dew and whiskey. Jeez.
Couldn't do it. Mm-mm.
I mean, no Sprite, 7-Up, or lemonade. Damn. Or a Coke with your whiskey. Pepsi.
That's not even sound like a good mixer.
Well, first of all, everybody knows liquor is sugar. So you're taking Mountain Dew, which is one of the sweetest drinks, and putting it sugar to sugar. Right. Why would I want to put sugar with sugar? Listen, somebody said, ain't nobody going up that hill. Oh, trust me, there's somebody that will go up that hill. There's always somebody that will go up that hill. They just ain't went up the hill. But you got somebody that would go, and they would have no problem going up there. And they would go any time of day, not just at night. They have been fortunate not to have somebody go up that hill. You understand what I'm saying? I'm just curious to why not. I'm not trying to promote violence, but with all the hype with these people, I just find it interesting that nobody's paid them a visit.
Okay, well, let's look at this scenario. I'm not promoting violence either, but who said you'd even have to go on the hill to get to them?
Well, hey, sit outside and wait for them to come out. Follow them into town.
There's ways.
Yeah, I know those ways. And the way they stay loaded up in there, they would be ripe for the taking. Just go up there, kick the door in, lay them down, blow the brains out, and walk back out. Keep it moving. You staying drunk and high all the time, your faculties aren't on point, you know?
But the thing with that, you know, and I don't condone violence. There's a time and a place for everything. But if that was to happen, we'd never know.
Yeah.
You know, and that's the only drawback.
But you know what? I'm wondering now, as far as this has gone, if I look up, God willing, I still have breath in me. It's June. It's June 15th, and that baby still ain't been recovered, no arrest. I just think I'll just be tired of talking about this.
Something's got to give.
I'd be livid at that point.
You know, that could turn into vigilante justice then.
Well, that's what I'm saying.
Because too many people know about this.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I mean, look how much of a people got worked up over the Little West boys.
Yeah,
they wanted those parents.
Yeah, and boy, is that what that district attorney brought forward was just too much to digest.
Yeah, that was just way too much.
But it's just like what somebody said in the chat, and I've heard a few people say this. Imagine what we don't know about them, and that's the truth. And I feel the same way about Cal City. Imagine what you don't know, because you weren't expecting that from the district attorney. So imagine what the hell we don't know about these two buffoons. What they've been doing.
Because the entities involved in this whole thing,
and the fact they got two federal agencies, TBI and the FBI. That's very, very interesting.
Yeah. And they're not about to step into public and tell what they know.
Right.
Or what they're working on behind the scenes.
Yeah. So what do they have exactly, since they acting like they ain't got nothing?
Well, I don't know. I think they have something, though. They gotta have something. Maybe I should have went to law enforcement years ago. Maybe I could have given you some answers.
Yeah.
But that was not the calling I got.
Yeah, I understand. I don't think I would want to work in law enforcement. I wouldn't want to see the terrible things that people do to each other, because, you know, I watch a lot of true crime documentaries, and sometimes I tell myself, I don't even know how I'm going to sleep, because I go to sleep late. I'm like, you got to quit watching this stuff, because it is not good for your mental state. It's not good for your health. It's not even good to be digesting that late at night. You know what I'm saying? When you're getting ready to slumber, watching what people do to each other. It's just
because it's in your subconscious mind.
Yeah.
You know, but my prayer is things will come to light. Justice will be served for this baby.
Yes.
And both of those parents, if not grandma too, will be locked up for a very long time.
We're just going to start calling her Jim.
No, call her something. Candace,
Woo!
don't call me Candace.
Candace, you, Don, and Jim go ahead and tell us what y'all did with that baby. That's what we're
She
gonna talk about.
got to know something too.
She looks like a guy for real.
I don't know. I mean, the whole family's dysfunctional. There's so much dysfunction.
But that's why I said about Don and those girls and sisters. I'm betting you this stuff is a big circle with them out there. If the truth was to ever come out about the sisters, brothers, I got a feeling a whole bunch of them been touched. They got a lot of secrets. And perhaps
okay, I want to ask you something.
Yeah, perhaps there's secrets with these bowel donors and their children. Go ahead.
Do you think these boys know anything?
Well, they possibly do. They were home all day.
Do you think they know what happened to their sister?
I don't know, because I don't even know what happened after boy H. I do believe everything took place after boy H. My personal feelings.
After he was dropped off.
So the boys wouldn't have been around then.
Right.
But the boys would be a witness. But the boys would be a witness to knowing that the mama lied, saying she went in the house when they know they never saw her come home.
Yeah.
They would know that. No, she never came home. Now imagine that. How about, let's put that on the table. Imagine the boys have talked to law enforcement and told them, no, we ain't seen our sister since she left with my mama. Ting.
Well, no telling what the boys could have told them when they went and talked to them.
I'm just saying, she spun the lie that she came home, remember? She yelled. Mm-hmm. She put the boys in it too, remember? Imagine if that's not true. And they've talked to the children and they told them, no, she never brought her back. She never brought her back. See, people don't talk about that much. Everybody's always asking what they know. They might know that they never saw her return home. Maybe they saw her leave the house that morning, but they didn't see her return home. So they know the mother and daddy are lying about bringing her home, unloading groceries, all that. They probably have told it if it's the truth. If she never made it back to the house, they probably already told law officials. We never saw her come back. She wasn't around. We unloaded the groceries. There was nobody in the back seat. I don't know where she was. But we didn't see her. Now, how can you explain that? Your children said they didn't see their sister return.
And it could have took the boys being removed from that situation, away from their parents, put with other people where they felt safe, where they knew they could talk, to tell them, because they were scared of their parents.
Well, never thought about that. But allegedly, the state's supposed to be involved. So what took 6 weeks? See, that don't make no sense either. Because you wouldn't leave children in the house with somebody that long. That's too long. You talk about killers. Yeah. Killers and or sexual sadists. That's why I always said something about the stories off.
It's just that missing piece of the puzzle.
Because how could the state be involved and you let the kids stay there 6 weeks? There's no way. You're basically telling the world you dropped the ball and let some kids stay in the house with some killers. That makes no damn sense. And with child molesters.
Yeah. I don't know. It's just that missing piece of the puzzle that we don't have.
6 weeks is too long for people to say they were involved, they were this, it was essay. I keep telling everybody, you all keep saying all that, but these people have never been arrested. Don't you think, Don? And see, that's another thing I keep telling people that they don't think when they talk. If it's true he molested his child, why he would have been arrested? Don't you think he'd be arrested for sexually abusing his kid? Or no, they just take the kid away from him.
If there was suspicion of these children being molested, they would have been taken in and examined.
Yeah, all right. And that's what I'm saying. Then what would the law official, then what would the state do? Press charges or no? Because we have heard stories of children being molested and nothing's happened to the perpetrator, depending on the degree of what they did to the child.
Right.
It's just a big mess. So that's the part of the story that don't add up to me. With all this, they know what she's going to tell, and this one tell, and CPS is involved, and they were there to investigate SA. But like I keep telling everybody, you're wearing that, you're beating that horse down, because that doesn't make any sense. If it's SA, then they would have never left the boys there. Why would I leave the other children there with you, and you're molesting a girl? My thing is, it doesn't matter if it's a girl or a boy. I'm not going to leave any other children in your custody. And it's like, you can't make people understand that. Abuse is abuse. I'm not going to leave the other children.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I don't know what to make of that situation there.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that to me, that's why I kept trying to tell people, I don't think it has anything to do with no SA, why she got gone and all that. I don't believe that, because they would have never left those kids. That means they'd have to own the fact they left the kids there 6 weeks after knowing that they've been there, that they were investigated at the time the little girl went missing. How are you going to explain that in court? Hello, Brittany.
Exactly. Well, Queen, I'm going to cut out. It was great visiting with you.
Thank you. You two have a wonderful week.
All right, you too. I'll catch you next time.
Okay, thanks for joining us, honey. Okay, bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Hello, Brittany. Brittany. Well, I don't know what she got going on. Well, she fell off. I guess she'll try to hit it back again. Oh, Lordy. You want to join us before I check out of here? I'm already topping an hour 2. 1 hour, 56 minutes. Thank you all for joining me. If you want to donate to the channel, $ Big Angie 129 Cash App. All super chats are welcome during the live. I'm giving you brief information pertaining to the main investigator. He's finally spoken about the case, and there are no new developments pertaining to the disappearance of Summer Wells. He's working diligently on this case. He's never seen a case like this before, with different entities and agencies being involved. So I think that tells us a little bit about how severe and serious this situation is with Summer. He believes that she's around that area, if indeed she wandered off, let's say. Hello, Brittany. Hello. Hello, Peaches. How are you? Brittany, I can't hear you, honey. I don't know what's going on with your device. If you'd like to join the Queen, give your commentary pertaining to what has been repeated. I briefly brought information pertaining to this story. Okay, thank you, Sean J, for the donation, and thank you, Christy. You all are so kind to the Queen. I really appreciate it. And thank you, Kathy, for your comment on the channel about my new goodies. Yes, I got me some goodies today while I was out. Got me a new bedroom lamp, since I'm doing my bedroom, and I guess black and gold. So found me a gold lamp at Ollie's. Then I found me another bathroom rug. I didn't show you all that picture. Then I found me a cute little stand at Goodwill. Got a good deal on that. I only paid under $5 for that with my old folks discount. I had to play elderly today. I do not mind. That's probably the only good thing about aging, is getting discounts. Here I come, AARP. I sure don't mind. I love goodies, let me tell you. I rotate stuff out all the time. I'm trying to have this less is more look. Not trying to do all the whatnots and stuff. That stuff you got to dust. You got to have somewhere to put all that stuff. Oh, is it working, Brittany? I had problems with my phone. It was doing that old talking stuff. And honey, I about threw this thing in the garbage can. I had to go to the place and get it checked on. It was just a talking and talking. I was like, oh, Lord, I got to turn this thing off. Let me read you a little bit of this information. The pressure has been immense on the Hawkins County Sheriff's Office to figure out what happened to Summer Wells, who was reported missing back in June 2021. It was a lot to shoulder. It's a lot to burden. We have a missing child that we haven't found yet, said Detective John Pruitt with the Hawkins County Sheriff's Office. Pruitt led the investigation into Summer's disappearance. Almost 10 months in and so much heartache, investigators aren't immune from hurt. The question of what happened to Summer still has no answer. There haven't been very many cases like this. I have never worked a missing child case with all these different entities and agencies involved, he said. His days are devoted to finding her. My day, I check the tip line, voicemail when I first get here. I do phone calls and follow-ups on any credible leads we've got, Pruitt said. I follow up on anything that I didn't get to a good conclusion the day before. Then I go into my normal caseload of any new cases. I've got follow-ups on them. Investigators have received nearly 2,000 tips. It's sporadic. One day you might get 5 leads. The next couple of days you might not get anything. But it's been an active investigation. I've been devoted to it since it first occurred. He said, I will follow up on everything I can try and bring closure for this. The night she went missing, authorities said she walked away from her house. Listen at that. The night she went missing, authorities said she walked away from her house. So that is disputing Candace's version of the child going in the house, and she called for her when she came back from Grandis's camper, and there was no answer. The wandering away or sneaking off to go play or whatever she may have done, that is a viable option, he said. People are probably tired of hearing this. All possibilities are on the table. We are not completely eliminating the abduction idea, but there is nothing to lead us to believe that we need to focus on that alone. In the height of the search, those on the ground combed through miles of tough, rugged terrain, leaving many to wonder how there was no trace of Summer. She was like 3 foot and 40 pounds. She's lowered to the ground, smaller body, a lot more flexible, Pruitt said. Pruitt works alongside the Tennessee Bureau of Investigation and the Federal Bureau of Investigation. Along with the ground search, those investigators have poured over data. Surveillance videos, GPS locations, cell phone tracking, cell phone data, electronic data, anything that we think of to get our hands on, he said. We have gone through reams and reams of data. We have collected statements. We've chased down every credible lead that's been given to us, and we are still not much further along than we started, quote unquote. Self-proclaimed online investigators and social sleuths have turned this case into a mess of ideas and tips from everywhere across the U.S. and overseas, Pruitt said. The deficit, there are the people that get on the rumor mill of social media, or people that think they have a special connection to the spirit world or the specific deities, said Pruitt. None of those have panned out worth anything, quote unquote. That help, quote, Pruitt says, has led to little more than time wasted. If these people want to help so much, we are always accepting applications from certified individuals, he said. He says the investigation has led to the continued thought that if Summer is found, it will be nearby. I believe that she would probably be somewhere close by because we have found nothing to believe that she has been abducted or trafficked out of the area, he said. Almost a year into the case, and Detective Pruitt said he remains a very active investigation, but it's increasingly hard to hold on to hope. I'm not going to let it go cold, he assured. We are 9 months in. I would hope that she's still alive somewhere, but we also have to be open to the idea that is no longer a possibility. WJHL.com is a source. Thank you, Peaches. All right, Brittany, come on up if you got to come on up. So, 186 viewing. That's the set information from WJHL. He believes that she's nearby, basically, because they don't have anything to show that she was abducted or trafficked. For those that want to keep spewing nonsense and making up stuff that you don't have a receipt to, you've interfered with this investigation. Some of you calling, worrying these people with tips of things that you didn't know anything about, foolishness of hocus pocus. Some people would consider witchcraft. Some Christians, they would call it that. Just saying. when you didn't know what you were talking about. And these people have a job to do. And that's something a lot of you don't seem to understand. This is a real child, a real person missing, gone almost a year now. People have to take those tips, compute it, pass it along. You're wasting their time. If you did not know the child, you didn't know her parents, you didn't see her that day, calling about dreams and unicorns and flying saucers, it's disrespectful. And it's disrespectful to her. It's disrespectful to the investigators. It's disrespectful to the people on the ground who stepped in to help to try to find her. This is the real deal. And unfortunately, she's still out there somewhere. It's very, very, very bad. Thank you, 620, for the super sticker. Thank you so much. Brittany, it's probably the StreamYard in your phone. That's why it's not working. Anybody else out there who's listened to this said information, hit the link if you want to give your opinion pertaining to what was said. And also, it was mentioned that they have lawyered up. I do believe that was in the article. It's very sad. Very sad indeed. Oh, Lord. Okay, thank you, Brittany. Thank you for the donation, sweetheart. Thank you so much. I thank you all so much. Yeah, new phones, they can suck sometimes. Okay, CR, thank you for joining us. You have a good night too, sweetheart. Have a blessed week. Yes, I like the minimum look myself. I mean, I like nice things, but when you buy stuff such as, whatnots, statues, that type of thing, you have to find a place to put that stuff. And that's the only thing I hate about it. It's not having anywhere to put it. It's just, I don't want to fool with that stuff. To tell you the truth, I don't want to fool with nothing. I do not. Well, Jonna, that's your personal opinion. Obviously, he doesn't have anything to do with the case. You see, you all put these people into the storyline just because you saw them going to the house or their name was mentioned. That doesn't mean they had anything to do with the disappearance of Summer. It just so happened that their name was mentioned, but it doesn't mean they had anything to do with it. Dotson, the church, the older guy next door, or whomever. And then you have to think about, when you talk about these people, they do have a life. And imagine the hype they've gotten from us making videos and talking about them and people making accusations toward them. It could cause problems for these people, where they live, their jobs. We all have to stand account for putting these people in the mix. Well, that's the sad information. I'm not going to hold you all because it's almost 25 till the hour. But I thank you all for following the content. We're going to pray for Summer that the truth is revealed. But I think the sick part of this story is it perhaps that the bio donors have gotten away with this crime? They have duped Ellie. Is it possible they crossed their T's and dotted their I's? Planned this. Alternate phones, turned off phones, discarded the child, and then came up with the made-up story that later is not the same version by TBI. And that's the one thing about this story that's interesting, is that Candace is given at least 3 different versions. One is to the dispatch, 911, where it's an inference of her taking a walk or run. And then she does the interview saying, I don't go anywhere. I don't walk anywhere, which means she watched social media and she threw it out there because she realized people have been talking about her. Number 2, Earhart tells us a few days into the investigation, the child was outside and possibly had no shoes on. Now we have the investigator 10 months into, almost 10 months into her disappearance, saying she was outside and wandered off. But yet Candace told the news the child was inside. She went inside the house to call for her. She did not answer. So where are we getting this information of outside, no shoes, wandered off, when allegedly she was inside? So which is it? The child was inside of the house or she was outside? Did the child even make it home from the swimming hole and dropping off boy H? Was that the time when the child got discarded? Was after the drop off of boy H? All phones were turned off, no tracking. Discarded the child out in Beach Creek and came back and rehearsed what is now the infamous 3 different versions or more of June 15th. Because you see, the truth needs no explanation and it never deviates. You don't add and you don't take away. And I think that's obvious with this case with Candace Bly, Donald Wells, Grandis. They've deviated. They've piggybacked off of the disappearance of a child, possible death of a child. They know where she is. They know what happened to her. And they're all lying for one another and covering for one another. But you know, all it takes is one to fold. And I'm hoping that one will fold. Because this is atrocious. And we now have 3 boys in the state's care. We have to pray for their livelihood, that they will be happy, prosperous children and won't walk on the path of their parents. We have to pray for that. So it's very sickening to see children go into state's care and have to face more adversity in other strangers' homes, and God forbid, turn into an adult that mimics the upbringing of their parents. That would be just cruel. But see, everything's in the genes. How you're treated, your response to how you were treated, insecurities you have, the new environment you're in. God forbid you're going from place to place up until your 18th birthday. I don't think a lot of people understand what that's like for a child. To go from home to home. Nobody adopts you. Nobody chooses you. Although you were with these people, they weren't the best parents, but now you're in the state's care, and maybe you thought you were getting along, and then one day they tell you, pack your things, you got to go. See, I don't think a lot of you understand that life. You have no idea. So you think about that tonight when you get in your cushy bed, warm covers. But that's your bed. That's your home, your apartment, your condo. And it ain't going nowhere so long as you can pay the due bill and you ain't in a fire or a flood. Do you understand what I'm saying? It's yours. And you have children, perhaps. And they have a nice room, covers, comforters, clean linen, clean clothes, undergarments, running water, house is clean, food in the refrigerator, nice amenities inside, nice outside. Everyone should want that, desire that, those things. And God tells you that in the scripture. You should have those things. Nothing wrong with desiring things. Because you're human. And we're all entitled to nice things because you can't take this stuff with you. It's just monetary things. And then most of it's made in China anyway, so it doesn't even have any value. I don't care whose name is on it. It has no value. But it's just nice to look at. It is cruel not to have the basic necessities. I think most of us know this. You need heat, air, water, clean clothes, a bed to sleep in, furniture to sit on, food, proper rest, proper structure, car, money. You need those things. You really can't make it without those things. And sadly, a lot of children are put to the wayside because they were brought here by people who just don't give a damn. And it's not their fault. They didn't ask to be here. And sadly, they go into the state's care and they're shuffled around like broke down cards. It's something for you all to ponder on. Whether you've ever been a child in state's care or shuffled around from family member to family member's house for whatever reason, it's cruel. And just imagine if Summer was visible, she'd possibly be where her brothers are. And possibly not even in the same house with them, because there's no guarantee somebody would take in all 4 children, all 3 boys. See, you all have to think about that. So that's why I keep telling you there's more to this story than just Summer Wells missing and possibly deceased. There are other boys, and we have to pray for them because they are a part of Summer Wells. They are her siblings. And they also have other brothers and sisters that we don't know much about. And they're out there somewhere in the universe. See, this is a cruel, cruel story. And it's one cruel story within a cruel story. Children abused, put in state's care. Later, their parents go off, meet and mingle other people, and mate to make more children, to be abused, to then go missing, and then put in the state's care. That's cruelty. Utter cruelty and unnecessary because they had no business lying down making more children. And now one's missing and possibly dead, and the other 3 are in the Department of Human Services care. Who wants that life? So when you think of Summer, think of her brothers because they are part of her and she's a part of them. And they didn't ask to be here either. Thank you all for joining me. You all have a wonderful week. I'll be back with more commentary this week. Thank the mods on deck. Thank you all for the super chats and the donations. God bless all of you. Stay safe. This is an ongoing story, ongoing investigation. Still an Amber Alert out from Miss Summer Wells. And when I get more information, I will bring it to you. If you need verification, it's in the YouTube queue. WJHL is the source. I have it posted to my community board, both videos. They're very short. And also I read your article by WJHL. And they also will be doing another commentary pertaining to the family members, which would be the parents. And obviously they're going to talk to them or attempt to talk to them and bring forth another storyline. And it's also been mentioned that they have lawyered up. So we now have 2 people who have told us that the Wells have an attorney / plural. And this is by now Mr. Pruitt, who is the lead investigator in this case. So he is now confirming what Ronnie Lawson told us recently. Thank you for joining me. This is Everyday Shenanigans. Y'all have a blessed week.